everyone, it's Nina. Thanks for joining me today for a new tutorial. I'm going to be featuring some of the newest products from Pinkfresh Studios and creating two different cards with those products. I created two very different cards, but I had a lot of fun working with these products because they have such a fun and whimsical appearance to them. I'm going to start off by creating this card here, which features the new Blooms stamp set and also the Geo Leaf die. I was stamping out these florals from the Bloom set onto some Whirly Pop Basil cardstock using some blackout ink from Ink on 3. I'm going to be coloring with colored pencils, so I want to make sure I get a nice impression that'll allow me to see these beautiful florals on top of this dark colored cardstock. Colored pencils look really awesome on top of dark colored cardstocks, which is why I chose this bright blue color. It has a very beautiful royal blue appearance, and when you add colored pencils on top of it, they just really magically start to really glow on this cardstock, which really makes them have a beautiful appearance. I'm doing no line coloring for my flowers today, so as I'm coloring, I'm covering over the lines and the veins that are on these flowers and leaves. You will see them a little bit once the coloring is finished, but for the most part, you won't be able to see any of the lines that are left behind on our images. I used a variety of different colored pencils, but I did only use up to 2 shades per floral or leaf. So everything I colored has only 2 different colors of pencils used to color in and add the shading. When I color, I start with the lightest first and then add the darker color on top. By adding the light color first, that gives the darker color a base to be able to sit onto. When you try to add a darker color onto the dark colored cardstock, it's not going to have as an intensive appearance. So this is what the coloring looks like as it's almost finished. I did color in the rest of the florals, and then I brought in some browns and started to add in the stems back in over top of those black lines. I'll color that top floral the exact same way that you saw me color these images here, and as you can see, it was very quick and simple. I embellished the florals just a little bit by adding my own little accent areas to these images. I added some little stems or foliage pieces coming out from the different areas, and then I die cut those with my coordinating dies that go with the Bloom set. With the Geo Leaf die, I cut that from 2 different colors of cardstock, Cornflower Blue and Whirly Pop. I layered the Cornflower Blue piece on top of the Whirly Pop at a slight offset. I'll cut off the piece that's going to be hanging off the edge so I have a nice finished look, but as you can see, that gives a lot of really nice depth to this Geo Leaf die and gives it a whole new look. This will also help tie in the navy blue coloring that we have underneath of our florals. I added that onto an ivory card base and then popped each of my floral pieces onto the top and bottom portion of this card with some foam tape just to give it a little bit more extra dimension. Now the Bloom stamp set does come with a lot of different sentiments which work really well to stamp in between the flower images that are part of that set. I'm going to be using thank you and then the supporting sentiment that I'll be stamping and heat embossing underneath of the word thank you. So the smaller sentiment is just embossed onto a piece of cardstock which I trimmed into a little label shape. The word thank you I want to have in an arc. So I'm going to align this onto my Misty tool in the shape of an arc, so that way when I go ahead and stamp this and heat emboss it, I'll have that really nice, beautiful arced appearance to the greeting, and that'll give this a whole new look. I really love the way it kind of curves around over the sentiment that's underneath there. So once I embossed it, I did trim it out with some fine tip scissors just to give it a little bit of an outline, and I popped that up onto my card using 2 layers of foam tape. That's going to finish up this card. I did not add anything else to this because this card has so much detail added to those florals. I didn't want to have anything else distracting from the rest of the card design. So I left it as is, and I really love the simplistic but gorgeous look that it has. Okay, so the second card I made using the new Pinkfresh release is this one here, and this features the Squirrel Friends and also the Flower Frame stamp sets. I really love the Squirrel Friends because they're super cute. However, they're a Christmas set, and I wasn't really into the Christmas mood. It has been so hot here in Maine. We've been having a really intense heat wave over the past week and a half, and so I was really not into the Christmas mood yet. So I wanted to do something with flowers. So I pulled in the flower frame set and I loosely watercolored all of the different floral images that are part of this whole giant image. It's absolutely gorgeous. So I'm going to color all those very loosely. I didn't add too much in the way of shading. I just put in some color and then dropped in a couple of darker colors here and there to give it the look of shading. But there is so much detail on these flowers that you really don't need to get a beautiful look. So once I did all of the loose coloring on the main flower images, I'll also drop in some color in between the flowers to fill in the frame and give it a more full look, but also a lot more color. There is a lot of outlines here, so you have a lot of area to work with in creating a really gorgeous full frame. And by coloring in really loosely on these flower frame images, it goes pretty quickly. So I'm going to also stamp the Squirrel Friends stamps onto a piece of watercolor paper, and I'll watercolor these loosely with some more watercolors. All my watercolors today are my Prima watercolor Confections, and I also have some Winsor & Newton and Daniel Smith colors mixed in here too. But I watercolored these very loosely so that way it had a really fun whimsical appearance because these images definitely are whimsical. I used only 2 shades to color in each of the squirrels. So these really cute squirrels have a lot of character, and I cut them out after coloring them with my fine tip scissors. There are coordinating dies that cut these out, but they are meant to cut out the sled and everything that's part of this Christmas set. So because they don't cut out the individual squirrels, I'm going to just fussy cut those. I added some splatters to my cream card base, and then I'll pop my flower frame up over top of this. Now you'll notice I messed up that one floral down on the bottom there, that blue one. It looks atrocious. So I didn't want to get rid of this flower frame because I worked so hard on coloring it. So that's where I'm going to layer the squirrels over top of that, and that's going to hide that really ugly flower. So when you're coloring and you have a mistake, don't throw things away. Just make sure you try to think of something that'll hide that mistake that you're not really liking. And usually there's a way to be able to fix stuff like this. I really didn't want to have to go and do it again because I really liked the rest of the coloring. So just by adding the squirrels over top, made that disappear, and I now have a really pretty little scene going on. There's some nice sentiments included in the floral frame stamp set, which I'll cut out with the coordinating die that cuts out this one that says Sending Love and Hugs. That one I had stamped with some Hot Mama Simon Says Stamp ink. And then I'm also going to use this supporting sentiment, which I heat embossed from the balloon stamp set underneath, and I embossed that onto some soft navy cardstock. Both of my sentiments I popped up off of my card using foam tape, and then I added a little bit of white gel pen details to the squirrels just to give them a little bit more character. I added the details to their tails and also their cheeks. Finally, I cut out some cute little hearts with a heart die from Simon Says Stamp, and I covered over those hearts with some glossy accents to give them a little bit more dimension and a nice little shine. This card is a really colorful and yet simple scene to put together, and is another great way to be able to stretch your stamps. These squirrels were from a Christmas themed stamp set, but by using them on their own, you can add them to almost any type of card that you have, and they make great little accents for your scenes. I hope that these 2 card ideas have inspired you to create with the new Pinkfresh Studio's release. There is a blog hop happening associated with this release, so if you head on over to my blog, you can find out more details on the blog hop. I have all of the supplies used that I used for today's cards linked down below or over on my blog as well. And I thank you so much for stopping by and spending some time with me today. I'll be back again very soon with more inspiration for you, but until then, have a great day. Bye!